I remember years ago, they had an Occupy Wall Street campout at Zuccotti Park. Zuccotti Park is right by our studios in Lower Manhattan, right by AM 970 The Answer and the operational center for the Mike Gallagher Show. It's where Eric Hansen runs all the audio controls. It's where Christian Russell runs the video controls. And we deliver the show essentially from Tampa Bay to New York, where Eric and Christian do their thing. Tracy and I are here. Michael screens calls from his home in upstate New York. When I go to New York, that's the studio I go to. I've spent a lot of time at that building near Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street was such an adventure because these were some of the most filthy degenerates on the planet. And they took it over. And for the life of me, only in New York does that ain't going to happen in Florida. Ron DeSantis wouldn't put up with a autonomous zone where radical activists can take over a city park. You should see the signs at Zuccotti Park right now. Revolution until victory. No pigs allowed. No pigs allowed. That, of course, is referring to the police. And it's the nicest little park. It's got benches and tables all over the place, plants and trees. But now it has been taken over by people who are in favor of the Palestinian Hamas sign. NYC resists with Gaza. And they have demands. They got a list of demands, don't you know? Liberation of Palestine. There is no Palestine. There's nothing to liberate. Where's Palestine's treasury? Where's the State House for Palestine? Where do they have the offices set up for Palestine? There is no Palestine. But that's the first demand, liberation of Palestine. Number 2, New York Police Department funds redistributed to the community. That'll happen. No cops on the MTA. That's the subway system and the bus system throughout New York. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority. No cops allowed. The mayor must resign. And the empty buildings in New York need to be used for migrants. Those are the demands of the Autonomist Zone. I mean, these people are such clowns and imbeciles and morons. I mean, and as somebody just texted me, Palestine is about as fictional as the genocide in Gaza. Nobody ever wants to talk about October 7th. So, I like to do this. I know we've had our share of trolls lately, and we're on troll alert. We're not going to take any more trolls. If you call the show and you lie about why you're calling and then you change gears, we're dumping you. We're going to kick you off. Nobody will ever hear your voice. So give it your best shot. It ain't going to work. 10 seconds is a long time. We have a 10-second digital delay. I'm not tolerating any more trolls. I'm tired of that. It's tedious. It's boring, and people don't want to hear it. These are serious times. So I want to tackle, if you are pro-Palestinian, I want you to call this show and explain to me how that's going to work. I mean, evidently there's a lot of you out there. I got to believe somebody listening to this show is right there with the Free Palestine crowd. The same people that disrupted Easter services at St. Patrick's Cathedral last weekend, the same people who are stopping traffic in the streets, the same people who are now taking over Zuccotti Park. Believe me, the deaths of these aid workers in Gaza from a food bank is heartbreaking and awful. And Israel, I know that the Israeli government is as upset and sorrowful about any civilians who die as anybody else. But this is war. This is absolutely a war that was started by the terrorists, and now Israel's going to finish it. But when we talk about a two-state solution, and you hear that bandied about a lot, when you hear people say free Palestine, when you hear people say Israel has to stop occupying Gaza, I've got one very, very simple question for you. How does that work when the Palestinian side wants to obliterate the Jews?